Hello guys and girls, and you join me on another in-session video. So where are we? Well, this is a brand new lake for me as part of my club that I recently joined, and I'm only really here because the lake that I'm concentrating on is unfortunately closed for spawning. So will it be a blessing in disguise? Let's have a look. So there's two lakes on this actual complex. I'm fishing the one that's not primarily a carp water, although you can see I've got the two carp rods out. There is a few carp, well, about 30 to be exact. There's also a good mix. There's tench in here, there's bream in here, and I was going to fish the one that purely really concentrates on carp. You know, the main stock is carp, but it was quite packed, and I thought, do you know what, let's just jump on here at least for the first night. So touching on nights, I'm here for, well, two. And around about 40 hours, so we've got some good time to see if we can do anything here. Now, the weather's not the greatest. It is if you want to tan, but for fishing it's not too great. So high pressure, very sunny, and apparently the lakes have been fishing quite poor of late, mainly night bites. So anyway, let's get into it. So I turn up at around 6 o'clock, had a chat with a few members, so managed to get set up just before it sort of gets to dusk really. Boilie only approach, fishing both on lead clips and using, well, I started off on the fluorocarbon D, but then went to Pecky's favourite rig, the multi-combi, which at least this session I'll give that a good go just to see how we get on. So let's get right into it. First fish, a small bream, every carp angler's worst nightmare. I thought, oh no, these are going to keep me up all night. I was already thinking maybe I should have gone into carp lake, so I doubled up on boilies, so two boilies, and this happened. I got into my BB thinking I've made the wrong choice. It's really hard to sleep here because it's actually quite noisy with the road being so close, so I managed just to get to sleep. And at 1:30, this happened. So here you have it then, guys. £21.7. Finally, after an eel. Lost an eel, had an eel, and a bream earlier. I've got a carp on the net. It's seen better days on its mouth. It's certainly still got a bit more fight in it. I was hoping it would calm down by now. Let's see if she'll behave. Just have a look at her. Look at that. Pretty scale pattern nonetheless. Really lovely fish that. Just seen. Almost a linear. Pretty much is. But certainly give a good scrap. That was on the margin rod. Fell to a spicy squid wafter. Lovely. I was of course over the moon that I'd fished a new lake for the first time, and the first night within, well, hours really, that I'd got one of the very few carp that reside in this lake. So here you see me on the original swim. After speaking to the bailiff, who said the carp generally do stick up the other side, I decided to change swim, and I didn't change very far. I literally went next door because there was a nice big patch of lilies, and I could get to that central position where, you know, a lot of the carp tend to show later on in the day. So I done that, and the bailiff laughed. He went, so you did move, and not very far, but I was way more hopeful with the massive patch of lilies that I was now fishing against. So I decided to fish one, you know, on the face of the lilies, bit to the left, and fish it very tight, locked up, and then one further out is 7 wraps where someone did have a hit of a few fish. So that was the plan. Boilie approach again. I was sticking on the wafters this time because the amount of silverfish just absolutely destroying the boilies in minutes is just immense in this lake. So the spicy squid wafter, obviously it worked, and they're a bit tougher, so it lasts a bit longer. Anyway, I got all the gear over and set up by like 2 o'clock, and by this point, because I've literally had an hour's sleep, I was ready for a bit of a nap. I was absolutely effed. So decided to get the rods out and have something to eat and get that well needed nap. But little did I know this was going to happen very quickly. Right, and this male tench, probably 3-4 pound, so not huge. I mean, it did give a good account for itself, but it was really pushing to get into the lily pads. It's gracing there, and that fell to a salty squid wafter. So I thought perhaps I'm going to get some time to have a little nap after the limited sleep I had last night. Literally dozing off, and this screamed off, and I lost an eel on the rod I got further out with 6 wraps too. So yeah, pleased with that. Let's get him back and see if there's any more out there to get. Surely it's time for a nap now, so I settled back on my bed chair, started dozing, and it was off again. I've got a funny feeling I'm not going to get that nap this afternoon, because not long after the tench, carp anglers look away now, this bream come off the same rod. Now, for all you guys that follow my channel, I don't mind fishing for these on the light feeder rods, but on the heavier gear they're no fun, right? But I just want to show you it because that's a dark old bream, right? So yeah, not a bad one that. The rods fell silent after that bream, and I was like, yes, managed to get to sleep, and I was feeling like this guy up here flying about. I thought, absolutely love it. And then suddenly the alarm absolutely screamed 1 toner, which certainly woke me up. No, 21.7, so nowhere near. So let's have a little look. Let's give us some water. Hope that she lets us pick her up again. Hopefully that's a good sign for going into the evening, into tonight. There we go. Got there in the end. Look at that. Cracking common that is. Lovely fish. Beautiful. There we go. Fish goes. Lovely. I thought I'd just take a second to show you the rigs that I'm actually using this time around. Now, it's a rig that my mate Wes said we need to get on and trial, which we'll be doing at Doddington's next month when we do a bit of a social for a couple of, 48 hours again, I believe, or just over. So certainly hit that subscribe button if you want to see how we get on there. Wes always tends to throw up a fish or two. But yeah, let's have a look at the rig. So using perhaps what you'd class as the pecky rig, the down pecky rig now. So I have primarily been using fluorocarbon Ds. I did start off with fluorocarbon D, but didn't have any more made up, so I'm fishing both of these on this rig now. So it comprises of around 5-inch. I actually use the 15-pound boom. A lot of people say use a 20. I will get some 20 and just trial it. Size 8 swivel, as you'd expect. This coloration is the clay coloration, so the lighter, and then some matching putty as well. And I tend to go a little bit more on my putty than perhaps most people. But if you don't know the rig, you basically join your boom section. You use an Albright knot and then have a little braided section. See that? So it's nice and subtle, and it wiggles around nicely. And then some people use shrink wrap. I've actually just used some tail rubber there. And it's got that lovely curve. Now, what also helps that lovely curve is, instead of using a wide gate hook, which I have used and have continued to use, but my all-time favourite for pretty much everything now is the beaked hook, because it's got a lovely curve So obviously with the wide gape you could make a lovely curve, make a kind of kicker. You could either use a kicker or you could create a kicker using shrink wrap, obviously. But I don't know, for me, I know that's sitting out there, and if you've got something like a metal hook that's already curved, I know no matter what goes on out there, I'm super confident that that's always going to give a good, turn and hook. Yeah, so you obviously always want to troll you straight away, bang. I was doing this on another video and I weren't doing it, but every time now, bang. And I'll tell you what, these hooks compared to perhaps the wide gape, no offense to the wide gape, I'm finding I'm doing the hook test and having to change it every time. I need to get myself a hook sharpener just to give that hook one more cast perhaps. But these beaked hooks tend to do 3 or 4 fish before you even have to worry about looking to sharpen them. They're amazing. So if you're not on the long shank beak hooks, have a look. They're called a hook. So yeah, you just attach it, like I say, with an Albright knot, pop some putty. A lot of people probably use a lot less putty than me, but there's a lot of small fish in here. So I did start matching the hatch and just using DNA bugs that I've been putting out. I've been smoking them, putting them out, and was starting to fish, but I found within about an hour or two the roach and rudd in this lake were just wiping them out. So I've gone on to another, a wafter, being the salty squid that you've probably seen me mentioning them fish anyway. But yeah, fishing both of them on there now, and last night, whether it was just because I'm fishing marginally, they tended to not have any bream, so it'll be a trial and error tonight. So we'll keep one fairly tight to the lilies. I mean, once I go to bed, I'll probably come away from it just to give myself a little bit more time if I'm snoozing and we get scream and run. But the other one, still on 6 wraps, more central position. And the bailiff did say, when you get to about 8 o'clock, you usually see a line in the middle of the lake, where the fish are showing. So I'm hopeful that we'll get one around 8, 9 o'clock maybe. Let's see. He's been saying these 2 lakes in particular haven't been having day bites, and we're lucky enough to get one. It is high pressure still, a bit more wind this afternoon, which is good. Yeah, we'll just have to see how we go. But yeah, if you haven't used or made Darren Peck's multi-combi rig, yeah, the simplicity, like you just push the rubber up when it comes to changing a hook. That's a bit harder, and you just literally take it off, change your hook, and bang, you're away again. As long as you don't damage that braided section, these rigs will last you a long time.
Isn't it true that if you want to get a bite, the best thing to do is to do something? I actually walked to the next swim just to see if there was carp still cruising around, and my receiver went beep, and suddenly I was into a fish. Tench.
I got a female this time, and she is slightly better. I'd say more pushing sort of 6 pound. Bit of a belly on her. Look at that. Woo. Well, screamed off once again. Actually, a fairly decent male that. I was hoping it's going to be a carp because there's been a few boshing out there, but not quite. But a lovely male tench nonetheless. No carp overnight, unfortunately, but I was certainly kept awake by a multitude of things. The mozzies, the road, really is quite noisy here, so I don't think I'll be coming here on a regular basis. However, it's part and parcel, isn't it? And the songbirds obviously are getting up at like about 3:30 they started, because it's obviously getting light a lot earlier at the moment, isn't it? Being near on the summer solstice. So, but we're on the last morning. I decided to freshen up the baits and managed to scrape another tench. Well guys, I'm sure this will be the last fish of the session unless the other screams off. I had one more of these in the night. I didn't get it out of the net. Absolutely full of spawn. Perhaps I shouldn't weighed it. About the same size as this one. But can't grumble with this session. Would have been nice to see in a carp or two more. But hey ho. So thank you all for stopping by and following along. Really appreciate the love. For now, let's get this girl back, and I'll see you on the next session.